All right, folks, welcome back from the commercial break. A few months ago, we began working on a story that showed that the Biden administration knew that there was going to be massive increases in Medicare premiums this year. And what they were going to do was temporarily hide it by subsidizing, without congressional authorization, the premium so that people wouldn't discover it at least until after Election Day. That means seniors may get a very stark bad piece of news later this year, early next year, because the bills they're getting right now for the Medicare premiums are simply fake for a while. They've been faked by temporary premiums paid to the insurers. Our next guest has been blowing the whistle on this since the crisis began. She's one of our great partners here at Just the News, the CEO of the AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, our good friend, Rebecca Weber. Rebecca, great to have you back on the show.
Thank you, John. Great to be with you.
You wrote a brilliant column in the Washington Examiner that I think laid this out in just stark, simple, common sense terms. I mean, this is basically a form of election of buying votes, right? They're just temporarily hiding something that's going to hit seniors real hard next year.
They really are, John. What's happening here is Biden and Harris are artificially lowering the cost of seniors' Part D premiums. Now, Part D is your prescription drug premiums. This is going to cost taxpayers, John, over $5 billion in 2025, and that's according to the U.S. Senate Committee on Finance. I mean, here is essentially what they're doing. They created a new program that's going to send billions to health insurance companies, okay, and to temporarily offset the premium increases. So what they're really doing, and one could really say that they're buying, off big insurance companies right before an election. And taxpayers, this is important that people understanding it, taxpayers are footing the bill today. Seniors will pay the price tomorrow. The Wall Street Journal recently came out with an article, John. They said that these Medicare premiums were expected to skyrocket by hundreds of dollars this year. And this was due to the Inflation Reduction Act, because there's a price-fixing scheme included in that Inflation Reduction Act, which gives the government the power to negotiate prescription drug prices. Now, seniors were set to be notified of the increases in mid-October, right before they headed to the polls.
They were going to let that happen with an election on the horizon, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly what they did. It's this obscure rule. It allows CMS to give money to insurers on a small scale to test new payment models. So it's really a temporary hold off right before the election. And it was Senator Rand Paul, who spoke out on this issue as well. He is concerned the Biden-Harris administration is inappropriately using taxpayer funds to mask these defective Medicare Part D policies. And he thinks that this could be a violation of the Hatch Act. And your listeners know the Hatch Act prohibits political activity conducted in an official capacity. But, this is really concerning for seniors and for AMAC members, John. Another thing to note, there were nearly 100 fewer standalone prescription drug plans available in 2024 compared to 2023. So the IRA, Inflation Reduction Act, has really taken a hit on seniors. Seniors are
they're losing choices, right?
They are. Fewer choices. And we know fewer choices lead to worse health outcomes. Worse health outcomes leads to, rising costs of healthcare in the long run. So this is it's really something else how they came out with this memo that prices are stable and seniors have more choices when in fact seniors will pay the price. This is going to cost.
It's just the opposite. Yeah, they're lying to us. Yeah, they're definitely lying to us. You mentioned the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, which most Americans now believe is the Inflation Augmentation Act because they've experienced enough of the pain from it. But one of the big, and your column did this brilliantly, better than anyone I've seen in just explaining what happened here. So they did some quote unquote reforms to Medicare, if I put those in quotes, air quotes for a second. And really what it allowed them to do was to temporarily negotiate some price fixing in the Medicare drug space, and then divert the money from electric vehicle to things like their green agenda, like electric vehicle tax credits and charging stations and things that really had nothing to do with Medicare. But those price fixing efforts actually backfired, right? It actually caused things to increase in cost. So they took money away from Medicare and then left senior citizens with a worse scenario a few months down the road, right?
That's exactly right. So there really isn't a savings there. I mean, the costs that Medicare isn't paying is going to be passed on to those who are enrolled in Medicare recipients. It'll come to them in the form of a premium increase. So seniors who are struggling to make ends meet today will ultimately pay more out of pocket for prescription drugs. And who really benefits? The Inflation Reduction Act, we know where money is going. It's going to, towards their Green New Deal, new electric cars and that kind of thing. And we know that seniors are not, most seniors and many AMAC members are not the ones going out buying these new electric cars. So it's benefiting the wealthy while seniors foot the bill.
Yeah, some six-figure car buyer is going to get a great tax break and deal, but some senior on a fixed income is actually going to get hosed for the cost with their Medicare drugs. It's an amazing thing. You did such a great job in this column crystallizing how this sort of illusion, mirage was created by the Biden administration. One of the things that we've seen, and AMAC has been at the forefront of blowing the whistle on this, is that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris keep inventing programs that Congress never gave them the legislative authority. And the courts keep slapping them down, but they keep doing it as though they're a king with no legislature really responsible. Do you think that moment is catching up to them?
I sure hope so. I do think that seniors, unfortunately, a lot of seniors are not aware that their Social Security is under threat. Kamala Harris has promised that a pathway to citizenship for migrants. And what she says is she wants to grant amnesty and a path to citizenship to virtually every migrant who lives here. Now, if we make millions of illegal aliens in the U.S., U.S. citizens, that's going to flood our social insurance system, and that's what seniors are depending on. So migrants are going to get access, according to Kamala Harris. This is on her wish list. There'll be a net drain on the system. I've written about this. It'll push us over the edge into insolvency. So it's not just Medicare, it's Social Security as well. And that's why all of us here at AMAC, we're really trying to urge seniors to pay attention, understand the facts, and we're pushing for legislation that says if you've entered the United States illegally, you will never be eligible for Social Security or Medicare. You've got to come into this legally. I've invited the president of AARP to join me in a debate about this because they claim that they support Social Security and Medicare, but we haven't seen much come out of AARP. We need to protect seniors' benefits, and no American president should ever be allowed to endanger the health of so many millions of Americans who are on these programs. We need to secure them. And we need to make sure that we're enacting policies that are helpful in the long run. I want to mention, too, if I could it's so important, the pre-approval requirements for medications is sort of a new consequence of the Inflation Reduction Act. And there was a study that said that there will be 135 fewer life-saving drugs over the next 15 years as a result of this law. And we know that Kamala Harris was the deciding vote that put the IRA into place. So, and if research projects are abandoned, then we know that we see fewer drugs coming to the market. And that, again, these drugs, our seniors are depending on them for longer living and healthier lives. So it is a shame what they're doing, but we're in touch with AMAC members every day. We're helping them with their Medicare choices, and we're listening to the American people.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And you do such a great job shining a light on things that maybe others have ignored, particularly in an era where the media often doesn't cover the real truth of what's going on here. A lot of the media bought into the memo that this was a good year for seniors, but it was a temporary manipulated market. And as your column brilliantly called it, it may be one of the most audacious vote buying schemes in American electoral history. I want to talk about one other thing, because I think the Inflation Reduction Act is part of a larger moment in history where people on fixed incomes are starting to experience poverty. They're experiencing energy poverty because their utility bills have gone up. They're going to be experiencing insurance poverty because Medicare premiums are going to jump. I mean, this is a temporary fix, but at some point the piper is going to catch up and people are going to have to pay. This has been one of the toughest 4 years for people on fixed incomes, isn't it?
It sure has, and this is what happens when government gets bigger and bigger. We think about when a government says we can make decisions for you and we know how to do it best, beware, be careful. We know what it's like when we go to the Department of Motor Vehicle. We know what the U.S. Postal Service, what they do and don't do. And I tell you that having, Medicare for all, for example, would be harmful to future generations. Not coming up with a plan to shore up Social Security and guarantee a cost of living increase for the poor. It's really shameful that Harris has been in as vice president, and she's been, and Joe Biden as president, and they really, in my view, have failed the American people. We know the economy is number one for so many, and AMAC is an organization that represents Americans 50 plus. We hear from our members every day. They are not prepared for the Green New Deal changes that Harris wants to put in place, and simply can't afford it. So we see in Donald Trump that he understands that people are feeling it at the pump. They're feeling it when they pay their gas and energy bills. We need to drill here in America, and I think it's clear. The choice is clear. If we want a better economy, there's only one path forward, and that path is Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, no doubt about it. One of the great things about AMAC is not only does it give voice to 2.2 million extraordinary Americans, not only is it engaged every day with Congress and doing amazing things in civic duty, like poll watching and other things, you actually have solutions in the marketplace. And I want to ask, given what you're seeing with the manipulation of the Medicare Part D premiums, what things does AMAC have available? If someone's out there and they're like, listen, I may need help on this, where can I turn at AMAC? What are you guys doing to help on the Medicare insurance front?
Certainly. Well, we provide a Medicare advisory service that really educates and informs seniors on every plan available in their area. But if you just have questions on parts A, B, C, or D, we're here to help you and guide you. Unlike the other senior organization, they only offer one plan with one carrier who endorses them. So we're offering choice. We work in all 50 states. We have licensed representatives here to take calls. And John, when you talk to somebody, you're always going to get the same agent. They become your dedicated agent for your entire time that you're with us, your whole journey. It really is terrific. So there are people at the ready to help seniors with their Medicare choices.
Yeah. One of the things I like to, I'm not Medicare eligible yet, but I'm a proud card-carrying member of AMAC. You actually have a lot of health insurance plans for people under 65 as well. And I think a lot of people don't know that. That's one of the many great benefits of being an AMAC member. Talk a little bit about that.
Thank you, John. We do. Matter of fact, we have an incredible dental plan that is for seniors. So seniors have different dental needs than younger people. And this plan is an AMAC plan that we built from the ground up to help our seniors. We also have health insurance options for people under the age of 65. So individual health plans are available if you don't want to go through, Obamacare. And we know that there are very limited choices and high premiums there too. We can provide our members with everything from life insurance and retirement planning. Again, our people are here in my office. We oversee them, we screen them, we work with them, and they've been with us for over a decade. Just top quality concierge service is what we really pride ourselves on. We want to help people, John. So we're doing that, face to face. We've helped over 150,000 Americans in the last 7 years, which is, I'm very proud to say how many people we've been able to help provide clear answers, direction, and really save them money.
Yeah, that's amazing. You're joining a great service when you join AMAC, but you're also joining a great community. This is really a neighborhood of like-minded patriots that all work together, 2 million plus strong, which is amazing. I've been blessed this year to attend some of your great events, particularly the two boot camp for boomers that were done in Pennsylvania and in Long Island. And I was just blown away by the energy of the AMAC membership. These are folks that aren't just, getting their discounts, aren't just getting their insurance. They're out working with AMAC to make sure this country is handed off to the next generation in as good a shape as they inherited it. What do you expect AMAC members to be doing in these final days that will show up in the post-election results?
Yeah, we've got nearly 3,000 AMAC members who are going to be poll watching and poll observing. We've got Yeah, we've got thousands of members who over the last 60 days have been door knocking to get out the vote. But we will be holding many more virtual webinars. We recently had an incredible webinar that spoke to the indoctrination of children and grandchildren. We had 300 people on that call, and John, dozens of personal stories from people who said we've got to do something to fix our public school system and protect future generations. What's interesting, I talk so much about the kids because our members are worried about the children. They're worried about the future generations and the way that this country is headed. So we're really committed to enriching the lives, John, of all Americans. We will fiercely defend and uphold, the rights enshrined in our Constitution. That is our mission. So many more boot camps to come in 2025.
I can't wait.
Yeah, we're going. There's a lot of work to be done. Assuming Trump does get in, and we can never be sure, we need everyone to get out and vote. And we need those who didn't vote in 2022 and 2020 to get out and vote. If we're blessed and Donald Trump gets in, the work just begins. We're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to focus on reducing the costs of health care, shoring up Social Security, protecting our children, and really working to ensure that we don't have another president who is spending, leaving Americans in so much debt. What that will do to our country if we continue down that pathway is unimaginable. We don't want to think about that. We need to go back to a strong economy. So we've got a lot of initiatives for 2025. Either way, John, we're going to work across the aisle. We're going to invite Democrats to the table, and we're going to come up with bipartisan solutions that help all Americans. So lots of work to come in the new year.
Yeah, and so many extraordinary common sense members. I got to tell you, I just was so invigorated when I came back from Long Island. Everyone think, oh, New York, that's been blue. But there's so many amazing, brilliant AMAC members who ask great questions, who volunteer to do great work. It is the army of common sense. That's what I have really gotten to know over the last 4 or 5 years of being an AMAC member. And folks, if you want to say thank you to Rebecca for what she does, not only in supporting Just the News, but in all the things that she's on the front lines of fighting for America, here's a quick thing you can do. You go to amac.us/justnews, and you can get a 1, 3, or 5 year membership at a great discount. It's a special offer just for the Just the News family. So go to amac.us/justnews today. You're going to get a great magazine, a weekly podcast that Rebecca hosts. It's one of my favorites. Daily news and analysis, savings all the time. I always brag about this. I make my AMAC membership pay for itself like 5-10 times over because of all the discounts. I travel a lot, and you whip out that card, you can save incredible money anywhere you go. It is the best money you'll spend in the next year. So go do it today. amac.us/justnews. All right, Rebecca, I'm going to put you on the spot. We're 11 days, I think, from Election Day. Your quick thoughts on where you think the mood of the country is heading into the day when they pull that lever.
Yeah, I do think that there's a good probability that Donald J. Trump will be our 47th president. I do think that a lot of people are not bragging who they're going to vote for. People are keeping quiet. There's a lot of tension in this country. So we just want to remind people to remain optimistic, stick together, don't abandon your values, show up at the polls. I do think that united we will stand, and together we can really turn this country around. We want to be careful. I know there's a lot of talk about, riots and this kind of thing. Certainly, you never know what might happen, but I just tell people, stay safe, be vigilant, get out and vote.
Yeah. As everyone who went to one of your boot camps learned, you can't win a game sitting on the bench on the sidelines. You got to get on the field. And the way we all get on the field is by doing our civic duty and voting. And that is something that AMAC has got its army ready to do in the next few weeks. Really impressive. Rebecca, I want to thank you for this column. This was such a brilliant column, and I don't think a lot of people realize the sleight of hand math and the illusion, the mirage that the Biden administration's created to hide the fact that their Inflation Reduction Act actually created a big inflation for Medicare D recipients. Great work. Great honor to have you on the show today. Thanks for joining us.
John, thank you as always. Great to be with you.
We have a lot of fun every time we're together. I always enjoy that.